Got this little got this practice pull here between me and my good pal Hooter. Gonna do a little technical critique. So this is the full clip. Hit sideways, he's in the open top. Starts dragging back a little bit. I settle. Starts sawing away. Try to open his bicep a little bit more, even though it's already all the way open, really. Try to secure that position where he can get around. He catches me. We're stuck at center. I climb up. He climbs up. He tries to go inside. I shut it down. I try to transition. He flops under. And then I hit sideways. So this is, in my opinion, a pretty good display of quite a few different techniques. So if we start from, who hits the ready go, just explaining the way I hit backwards and then to the side. And then off the go, I tell him that he can say ready go. So off the go, you can see right here, I'm traveling this way. With my elbow, I'm dragging my elbow back across the pad. And his elbow doesn't really move much. His elbow kind of stays in the same spot. If you look right here, just kind of stays in the same spot. But his bicep opens up, while mine sort of stays closed. So then I hit sideways, and he is not protecting his side at all. He's fully intended on going backwards, but he doesn't move backwards. So here we are at a settled position. If you look right here, this arm is completely blocking off from the table. So if you look at his hand right here, he is completely turned palm up. I have full pronation, and I have his cup. So if we play, he sort of sits in here. He does finally drag his elbow back, but what he really should do is drop this shoulder, drop it down, and then force pronation into my hand just to apply that pressure. Because right now he really is just laying on his bicep. It's not something that would typically work in a real match. So I do this little saw thing to lower the level a little bit more, and it does work. As you can see, he's on the very corner of the pad right here. So right there, he catches me whenever I come up to transition, because I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. From here, I needed that finisher, so I come up. And I did this wrong. I come up, he comes up at the same time and catches me. And if you see right here, my elbow actually comes off a little bit. But he did this wrong, in my opinion. He sort of lets me rest and absorb everything. So yeah, I would really shove up more on this press if I was him, to try to get that high post and then try to go backwards again. Or I would just completely come around and go forward. From my position here, I can't really shove up because of how short his arm is. So what would have been better, if he's going to match me in the center, is to, from this position, I sort of have a lot, and he doesn't. Like, he can only really do two things. So what I could have done is I could have tried to supinate the wrist a little bit and try to go in for a hook or a hook press, or I could climb up higher and just really get on his fingertips and then hit sideways again. But this is what happens. He drags his elbow back to the corner. Again, he hits backwards. But his hits don't really do a lot because he's not really moving his elbow. He's sort of just opening himself up again and again with his bicep angle. And I'm sort of holding pretty solid. I still have hand control. This was the biggest issue. This was the biggest point of failure, the biggest mistake that he made. So as you can see right here, um, I do have his wrist, but not by very much. Like it's on my side, like I have it, but it's pretty much straight up and down. But he has two moves here, right? From this elbow position, he can either hit sideways, uh, you know, try to contain as much as he can and force pronation. Maybe he could shove his elbow forward and then hit sideways, gain a little bit of cutback, or um, he could really commit to the press and bring that shoulder around. But what he does here really does not make any sense. You see that? He climbs, and I match it perfectly. If you see the actual thumb position, you see where I am on his hand. I mean, I gained so much. Like that wasn't even visible before. If he did want to climb from this position, he should have really shoved his elbow forward. He has a lot of pad up here that he's not even using. Should have shoved his elbow forward and he could have got super upright. And then maybe the climb would have been better. But instead, he climbs, I way overmatch it, and I am so far over his hand that there is really nothing he can do. So I've sort of taken everything away from him. If you look at my arm position, it's probably as close as it's going to get for me to be, have such longer arms, and he is all the way stretched out, and his hand is way lower than mine. So you can see my hips sneaking around and my shoulders sneaking around as I try to go in for that press. He sees it coming a little bit and starts to go in for his own press. So I come back out of it. As you see right here, his little shoulder, he just gets right around it. I hit sideways again to get him out. And if you look at his hand, you can literally see his index knuckle from the side. That's how open his hand is. I don't think it could be any more open. So really, he needs to try to get back to center. But instead, he sits in it. He's also running out of pad over here. So he's running out of pad and he's running out of hand. And this is where I make a mistake. You see, I do a good job sneaking around my shoulder blade around and my back around for that press. But my real biggest mistake in this is right here. I open up and I climb even more without supinating. So I'm still pronated, but my shoulder is behind my hand. You can't really press from there. In conjunction with him being flopped, as you can see, my hand looks flat, but my shoulders are going that way. I cannot press from this position. And he's closed, but he's on his bone line, and he's under my hand. Right? So essentially, I'm like not going to be able to press. So he matches that very well. And he really closes down. He doesn't quite get the pin. There's a bit of a distance there. But he definitely made the best move to get me out of my press. Now I hit back again. His hand, I'm so far over his hand. He can't really do anything. I'm pulling on his bones. And then we sort of stop. So, I feel like that was a good technical display on both sides. If I were to give Hooter two pieces of advice, it would be to use more pad. His elbow stayed in pretty much the same spot the entire match, unless he was desperate. And the only other piece of advice I would give him, so I'd give him to use more pad, and then I would give him to drop that shoulder. If he's going to go into an open top, drop that shoulder and really try to pronate that wrist. And if I were to give myself any advice, the only piece of advice I would give myself is to not let myself get overpronated whenever I'm going for a press.